Hi, this is Steve Stine from guitarzoom. What if I told you some of the coolest licks are actually quite simple to play? You just have to learn how to effectively break them down. What I want to do is I want to show you one of the new licks that I've got coming, and it looks like this. Now that lick actually is quite easy to play. It's just a couple of different pieces that we need to splice together. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the fingering on the first string, and then we're going to figure out how to attach it onto the second string. In metal and hard rock, it's nice to have some elements that are faster. The problem that a lot of people have is that they're not always really good at being able to pick everything. And so licks like these are very infamous by, artists like, Zakk Wylde or Randy Rhoads or Kirk Hammett from Metallica. I mean, there's just a whole host of guys that use these sorts of things. And so what I'm doing is I'm going to go to the 12th fret of the first string with my first finger. I'm going to go to the 14th fret with my middle finger. I'm going to go to the 15th fret with my ring finger and the 17th fret with my pinky. Now, each one of these is going to do a pull-off back to the 12th fret. So I'm going to go 17, 12, 15, 12, 14, 12. So it's going to look like this. Okay, so the first thing I have to do is just make sure that I'm assigning the right fingers to the right fret. Now let's not worry about the picking just yet. So the first thing you want to do is you just want to develop that movement. Now, again, what I always love to do when I'm teaching is I love to show people how to do things in a real world situation. So you can do the lick, but you can also do different things with this. So I want you to think about how you could take just these pull-offs that we're doing right now. And you could make a whole nother lick out of it just by exploring the creative possibilities. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to descend from 17 to 15 to 14, and then I'm going to attach onto the 15th fret of the second string with my ring finger. So I'm going like this. Then I'm going to go back to the 12th fret of the first string. So I have. That's the whole lick. Now, what makes it tricky to play fast is two things. Number one, the beginning, when you're doing all those pull-offs, you may have to alternate pick. You may not, but you may have to alternate pick those. The second thing is making the connection from that 15 back to that 12 where you're switching strings. A lot of times when you have to switch a string like that, it becomes more difficult. So what I want you to think about is doing a technique that we call sweeping. And we're not really doing a bunch of string sweeping and that sort of thing, but what we are doing is pushing the pick through from the second string to the first string without picking the pick up. So I'm pushing through. Instead of doing this, what I am doing is pushing through like this. Okay, so I'm just pushing through those. See how it's much more effective? If I pick the pick up, it's going to slow me down. So the trick is, as I'm pushing through with my pick, I have to make sure that I don't stop, and I have to make sure that I'm separating these two strings, okay, the notes that I'm playing. Otherwise, it would sound like this. I don't want that. Although that's kind of a cool sound too in rock and metal. But what I want to do is I'm going to touch the second string with the tip of my index finger. So I'm pressing on the first string, and I'm lightly touching the second string with the tip of the index finger. And what that's going to do is it's going to cause the second string to stop vibrating when I take my ring finger off. So now I'm going to press down with my ring finger on the second string of the 15th fret, and I play that note, and then I take that string or finger off, and that string dies, and then I push through. So the first finger stays anchored the entire time. So the trick is learning how to get my third finger out of the way when I go to pick the first string. And that's how you get two independent sounds from one picking structure, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in those three pull-offs. Okay? Now, here's the next trick, is that if I think about it, if I push through with two downs, down, down, and then I have to go to the 17th fret of the first string to do this lick, I'm going to start with an upstroke because my pick is already sitting down here towards the floor. So if I go down, down, I want to go up, pull off, down, pull off, up, pull off, and then my two downs. So what I'm doing is I'm really going up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down. So in the bigger picture, I'm just playing up, down, up, down, up, down, up, right? Now, when I first start playing the lick, I generally start with a down simply because it feels more natural to me to start with a down pick than it does with an up. But as I cycle through and do the pattern over and over and over, it becomes obvious that by obligation, I should be doing an upstroke to begin the pattern. So if it feels more comfortable and it makes more sense to you to start this lick with an upstroke, by all means do it. I just have a tendency, I always think about in the real world, I'm coming from somewhere and I'm going to somewhere and I'm not really sure where I'm coming from, right? And I'm not really sure where I'm going to. So if I was just coming out of the blue and I was going to start doing this lick, I probably would not start with an upstroke. You might. I would probably start with a down. So there's a bit of a hiccup at the beginning of the lick for me in the real world, where I would probably start with a down and I'd wind up with down, down, and then I would get to my up. Or maybe I do them all down or something like that until I get into the actual pattern. But there's no doubt as soon as I do those two downs to push, that I would do an up right after that. Because it'd be really hard to go down, 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 and then down, 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 up. Or down, down, excuse me. That would be really tough to do. Because there'd be like a little lull between I'm down here to get back to start. So that's why I would start with an upstroke. So maybe the first time through, everything could be downs and it would be perfectly fine. But for me, then once I recycle through and I'm going to start all over, so that one I could do as a down, but then when I start all over, see how I start doing my ups then. So I have down, down, up, down, down. So it's a great little effective lick that you can use in your hard rock and your metal playing and all that sort of thing. And it adds some speed. It breaks up the monotony of the slower pace stuff. But yet it isn't overly difficult. Big thing is just getting comfortable with the two pieces, right? Doing all those pull-offs and then being able to connect those two strings together. So hopefully that helps you with your guitar playing. And please let us know here at Guitar Zoom what we can do to help you further.